You ever notice how people love to tell you what you should be doing? Oh, they've got a whole list, don't they? Be kind, be selfless, give, until there's nothing left. And if you dare think about yourself, well, now you're the selfish one. Isn't that funny? The moment you stop bleeding for everyone else, suddenly you're the villain. The classic lie, self-care is selfish. It's funny, isn't it? The way people have convinced themselves that the moment you start thinking about your own needs, you're suddenly some villain, some egotistical monster. They want you to sacrifice, to be the martyr, to wear yourself down until you're barely holding on to anything, just so they can feel comfortable in their own little world. They think it's noble. They think you're a hero when you're running on fumes. But here's the truth no one wants to hear. You can't save anyone if you're drowning. You can't give something you don't have. People will take from you until there's nothing left, and the second you stop, they'll point fingers. What happened to the good you, they'll ask. What happened to the savior they could lean on whenever they needed a fix? But here's the thing. If you keep giving, if you keep running yourself ragged to fix everyone around you, what's left for you? What do you have left to give when you've already given everything? You're exhausted, burned out, walking around like a shell of yourself. And for what? So others can feel comfortable while you get lost in their chaos? It's like a game they play, where you're the one always picking up the pieces, and they're the ones who get to walk away unscathed. People love to tell you to put others first, don't they? Oh, you should do this for them. You have to be there for them. They'll guilt trip you until you're curled up in the corner, wondering if you've even earned the right to exist for yourself. And if you dare say no, if you dare put yourself ahead of someone else, you're the villain. You're selfish. You're cold. They'll look at you like you're a monster, a creature who doesn't understand the importance of putting others before yourself. But it's all an illusion. The truth? They're just taking advantage. You can't keep giving, running yourself ragged for everyone else without eventually breaking. And when you break, they won't be there to pick up the pieces. Oh, no. They'll be too busy asking why you're not the same person you used to be, why you're not the one doing all the work, carrying all the burdens, making sure everyone else's lives are shiny and bright while yours falls apart in the background. It's a game, and the rules are simple. You lose, because when you don't take care of yourself first, when you give everyone else your energy, your time, your compassion, your care, the truth comes out. You're not helping anyone. You're enabling them. You're enabling their dependency on you. You're creating a cycle where everyone around you relies on you to fix their mess while they keep making more of it. And you end up with nothing left, nothing to show for all the sacrifice you made. So you know what? Stop giving it all away. Stop pretending that being there for everyone else makes you the good guy. Because here's the catch. If you don't take care of yourself, you're no good to anyone. You're just a worn-out version of yourself, a shell. And a shell can't carry the weight of the world. You can't be someone else's savior if you can't save yourself. It's that simple, and if they don't get it, if they get angry when you say no, when you prioritize your own needs for once, well then let them call you selfish. Let them talk behind your back, because the truth is, you're doing them a favor. You're showing them what it looks like when someone knows how to say, no, I'm not going to let myself burn out for your comfort. You're teaching them a lesson they'll never forget, even if they don't realize it right away. You're not here to fix everyone. You're here to take care of yourself, to make sure you're strong enough to live your life. Because the reality is, if you're too busy saving everyone else, you'll never have the chance to live for yourself. You'll always be the person they depend on, the person they walk all over, the person who gets lost in the noise. And when you're gone, when you've run yourself into the ground, they'll move on. They'll find someone else to use, someone else to lean on. But you'll just be a memory, a faint echo of someone who forgot to take care of themselves first. You know, there's a little rule that everyone seems to forget until it's too late. You can't pour from an empty cup. Isn't that funny? Everyone's so busy running around, trying to fix the world, trying to fix everyone else, that they forget about one simple fact. They have to fix themselves first. Oh, they don't think about it. Why would they? It's all about being the hero, being the person who saves the day, right? But here's the deal. If you're constantly giving, constantly sacrificing, constantly making sure everyone else is taken care of, where do you think that energy comes from? You think it's just magically replenished every time you give a piece of yourself away? Let me tell you something. It's not. You start out with good intentions, of course. You want to help. You want to be the person everyone turns to. You want to feel like you matter, like you're needed. But eventually you hit a wall. You start running on empty, but you keep going. You keep pretending like you have more to give. You smile, you nod, you say yes, you say, I'll take care of it, and don't worry, I've got this. But inside you're running out of fuel. You don't even notice it at first. You don't notice the cracks forming. You think it's just a little tiredness, just a little fatigue. Everyone else needs you, right? You're the one they turn to, the one they rely on, but that's the trap, isn't it? You don't realize how deep you're sinking until you're already drowning in it. And when you finally do feel it, the exhaustion, the weariness, the ache of constantly giving, what do? What do the people around you do? They don't notice. No, they don't care. They don't stop to check in on you. They don't ask how you're holding up. They just keep taking. Because they think you have more to give, because they don't care how much it costs you. And you, well, you keep saying yes, you keep going, because that's what they want. That's what they expect. But one day you'll look in the mirror and see it. The person you've become, a person who's given everything, and for what? What do you have left? A hollow shell. A burnt-out version of who you used to be. And when you're at that breaking point, when you're completely drained, when the walls are closing in and you've got nothing left, then they'll start noticing, and it'll be too late. The thing is, you never should have gotten to that point. You should have taken care of yourself. You should have said, no, I can't do it all. But you didn't, because you were too busy playing the part of the hero. Everyone around you will tell you that you're supposed to help them, right? That you're supposed to be there for them no matter what. It's almost like they forget that you need something too. It's like they forget that you are human. They expect you to be the fixer, the person who never needs anything in return, the person who just keeps giving, never asking for help. And you're so deep in it, so lost in the idea of being the one who always saves the day, that you never stop to think, who's gonna save you? You think if you keep giving, if you keep pretending that you're invincible, everything will work out. That somehow, if you keep holding the weight of the world, someone will notice, and they'll take care of you when it's all over. But that's the thing. People don't notice. They just keep taking, and when you're broken, when you can't do it anymore, they'll move on to someone else. They'll find the next person to lean on. And you'll just be a pile of empty promises. A person who burned out trying to save others without ever thinking about saving themselves first. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't keep giving if you're not taking care of yourself. The world is always going to demand from you. It's always going to ask you to be more, to do more, to be the person who holds everything together. But you can't do that unless you have something to hold on to. You can't help anyone if you're not helping yourself first. The real joke is thinking you can keep going without stopping to refill, without taking a break. Because one day the laughter stops, one day the applause fades, and you're left standing there, wondering where it all went wrong, wondering why the world stopped caring. But it's not the world's fault, is it? It's yours. You let it happen. You let it go on. You let them drain you dry. Boundaries. They're cute, aren't they? People love to talk about them like there's some kind of magical line in the sand. Oh, you need boundaries. You have to set them. But then, when it comes time to actually use them, what happens? People look at you like you're crazy. Why are you saying no? Why are you being difficult? They don't get it. They've never had to deal with the consequences of never setting boundaries. They don't see the chaos they're creating. And you? Well, you're the one left cleaning up the mess, always. You're the one who ends up apologizing, explaining yourself, making sure everyone else is happy and comfortable while you slowly drown in your own exhaustion. And for what? So they can stay comfortable in their own little world while you sacrifice your own peace of mind, your own time, your own sanity, just to make sure they're not uncomfortable. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that just wonderful? The thing about boundaries is they aren't there to protect other people. No, they're there to protect you. And yet so many people walk around with no boundaries at all, just letting anyone and everyone walk all over them, taking their time, their energy, their kindness, their patience, until there's nothing left. They don't say no because they're afraid of what people will think. They don't set limits because they don't want to disappoint anyone. But guess what? No one's going to come to your rescue when you're burned out. No one's going to thank you for running yourself into the ground for their comfort. They'll just take and take and take. And when you finally snap, when you finally say enough is enough, what do? They act like you've done something wrong, like you're the problem, because heaven forbid you dare to put yourself first. Heaven forbid you dare to have a limit. Boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They're about keeping the chaos at a distance. They're about saying, I have limits and I deserve respect. But no one tells you that. No one tells you how to actually say no and stick to it. They'll guilt trip you. They'll make you feel small. They'll make you feel like you're being selfish, like you're the bad guy just for protecting your own peace. And you know what happens then? You start second guessing yourself. You start wondering if maybe, just maybe, they're right. Maybe you are being selfish. Maybe you should keep giving, keep bending, keep breaking yourself apart until you have nothing left. You start questioning your own worth, your own needs, your own rights. Because that's what they want. They want you to think you don't deserve to set boundaries. They want you to think your needs are unimportant. They want you to think that the only way to be a good person is to sacrifice yourself for their comfort. But let me tell you something. They don't get to decide that. You do. And if they don't like it, if they don't like you setting boundaries, if they don't like you saying no for once, well, that's their problem, not yours. Because here's the thing. The world will keep pushing you. It will keep pushing until you break. People will keep asking for more of your time, your energy, your kindness until there's nothing left for you. And when you're the one left with nothing, when you've given everything you have and still get nothing in return, who's going to be there for you? Who's going to clean up the mess? No one. Absolutely no one. That's why boundaries are so important. They're not just some nice-to-have thing. They're your lifeline. They're the line in the sand that says, I will not be used up. I will not be taken for granted. And yet, we let people cross that line all the time. We let them take what they want, and we sit there, waiting for the universe to fix it. But guess what? The universe doesn't work that way. It doesn't hand out rewards for people who don't protect themselves. It doesn't reward martyrdom, no. The universe will sit back, watch you burn out, and let everyone around you keep taking from you until you've got nothing left. And when you finally have nothing left to give, when you're crumpled and defeated, they'll move on to the next person, the next target. So you need to set those boundaries. You need to draw that line and make it clear. Because if you don't, no one will do it for you. And they'll keep pushing until there's nothing left of you. They'll keep asking for more of you until they drain you dry. So set those boundaries. And when they get upset, when they start making you feel guilty, when they start calling you selfish, remember this. It's not selfish to protect yourself. It's survival. It's the only way you're going to make it out of this without losing who you are. The moment you start putting yourself first, the moment you start saying no, is the moment you take back control of your own life. It's funny how the world expects you to be a superhero, right? To just give and give until you have nothing left. It's like they think you're supposed to be a bottomless pit of generosity, energy, and care. As if you have an endless supply of love and patience. You can handle it, they say. You'll be fine, they say. They don't care. They don't care about how much it takes from you. They don't care about the toll it's taking on your soul, on your mind, on your body. They just want. They want more. And you're the fool who keeps giving because you think you have to. You think that if you say no once, the world will collapse and you'll be seen as selfish. You think that if you stop, if you put your own needs first, you'll be letting everyone down. But what they don't tell you, what they conveniently forget to mention, is that giving to everyone else while you rot from the inside out doesn't make you a hero. It makes you a martyr. And martyrs, they don't get the applause they think they deserve. They don't get the thank you they're hoping for. No, martyrs get tossed aside when they've served their purpose. And you, my friend, are nothing but an expendable pawn in this little game. You're too busy trying to make everyone happy, trying to be what they need you to be, trying to be the fixer, the problem solver, the constant pillar of support, that you forget about the most important person in your life. You forget about your own needs. You forget about your own well-being. You forget that you need rest, that you need care, that you need to be treated with the same respect and attention you give to others. But that's the thing, isn't it? We're taught that everyone else comes first. We're taught that we have to take care of them, make them comfortable, make them feel special, make sure they have everything they need, while we're left holding the empty bag. The the leftover scraps of ourselves. And you think it's noble, you think it's good, you think it's right to keep giving even when you have nothing left to give. You think that it's the way things should be. But here's the truth. It's a trap. A brilliant trap. You give until you're drained, until you're an empty shell, and then what happens? Everyone walks away, everyone goes on with their lives, their problems solved, while you're left with nothing but exhaustion, resentment, and regret. Why do you think people don't take care of themselves? Why do you think they keep sacrificing themselves for others day after day, even when it's killing them inside? It's because they've been convinced that it's what they should do. They've been convinced that their worth is tied to how much they give, to how much they bend over backward for others. And they'll keep bending. They'll keep giving until they break. And when they do, when they finally snap, when the weight of it all becomes too much to carry, what happens? Do they get a parade? Do they get a medal for all their sacrifice? No. No, they don't. Because people will just move on. They'll move on to the next person who hasn't broken yet. The next person who's still willing to take on the weight of the world without complaining. You think you're being noble. You think you're doing the right thing by constantly putting others first. You think that by being the hero, by being the one everyone turns to, you'll find fulfillment, you'll find meaning, you'll find purpose. But all you're finding is emptiness. All you're finding is a slow death. You can't keep going forever. You can't keep pouring out every last drop of yourself and expect to still be standing at the end of it. And the worst part, the absolute worst part, people don't even notice. They don't even see it. They don't see how much it's taking out of you. They don't see how much you're suffering. They just see the result. They see that you're always there, always on call, always willing to help. They see that you'll sacrifice your own needs just to make sure they're happy, and they take it. They take it all. And you stand there, hoping for some kind of recognition, some kind of reward. But there is none. No one thanks you. No one cares. So why do you do it? Why do you keep giving? Why do you keep letting them take? Because you've been fooled into thinking that's what makes you valuable. You've been fooled into thinking that your worth is tied to how much you give, how much you do for others. But here's the cold, hard truth. Your worth has nothing to do with that. Your worth is in you. It's in your ability to recognize that you matter too. It's in your ability to say, I'm important. I need to take care of myself before I can take care of anyone else. You don't have to be the martyr. You don't have to be the one who loses everything just to keep everyone else afloat. You don't have to be the one who gives until you have nothing left. You can choose to stop. You can choose to protect yourself. You can choose to set boundaries. You can choose to walk away. But that's the hardest part, isn't it? That's the part no one tells you about. The part where you have to make a choice. Your life or their comfort. Oh, isn't it adorable when people think that everything you do should be for their benefit? The constant pulling, the endless expectations, the do this for me and can you help me with that? And of course you do, because what else can you do? You can't say no. Saying no is somehow the worst thing you can do in their eyes. Oh, you're not helping me? You're not going to drop everything to make sure I'm okay? They look at you like you're the villain, the monster, the one who's selfish. But here's the thing. No one tells you that your value doesn't come from constantly being at everyone else's beck and call. It's funny how they all expect you to be their personal problem solver. Oh, you'll figure it out. You're always there for us, they say, completely ignoring the fact that when was the last time anyone actually gave something back to you? When was the last time anyone noticed you were struggling? Ah, but of course, you're not supposed to struggle. No, you're supposed to always be the rock, the one who handles everything, the one who's strong. Everyone expects you to carry them without any regard for what it costs you. The price is irrelevant because, hey, as long as they get what they want, right? You're just supposed to keep giving and giving until your spirit is drained, until you're nothing but a shell of who you used to be. People love to tell you that you should help others. You should give back. You should be there for people. Sure, it's great advice in theory. But what they never tell you is that helping others means nothing if you're neglecting yourself in the process. And that's where the trick lies, doesn't it? You're so busy helping, so caught up in everyone else's problems that you don't even realize that you're erasing your own. You're putting out fire after fire, but no one notices the flames burning inside you. No one sees that you're suffocating under the weight of everyone else's need. They just keep piling it on, and what do? You smile. You nod, you say, of course I'll help. But here's the kicker. You're not doing it because you're a saint or because you're selfless or because you're just a kind soul. You're doing it because somewhere deep inside you, you've convinced yourself that this is your purpose, that this is your duty to be the caretaker, to be the fixer. You think that if you don't do it, you're failing. You think that if you stop, everything will fall apart. But here's the thing. Everything is falling apart already. And it's not because you're not doing enough. It's because you're giving until there's nothing left. And when there's nothing left, what happens? Everything crumbles. But do they care? No. Do they even notice? No, because they never saw you as a person. They only saw what you could do for them. Oh, and the guilt. The guilt is a masterpiece, isn't it? You can feel it creeping in every time you want to say no. Every time you think about putting yourself first. You feel like you're failing them. Like you're being selfish, like somehow you're the one doing something wrong by not sacrificing everything for them. And they'll let you carry that weight. They'll let you carry it until your back breaks. They'll let you carry it until you fall apart at the seams, and they'll still be there waiting, expecting, because they've never had to bear the burden of caring for themselves. Because it's easier to just let you do it. Why bother fixing their own mess when you're there to clean it up? Why bother changing their habits when you're always going to be the one picking up the pieces? But here's the ugly truth. You're not going to be the hero forever. People are quick to forget. They're quick to walk away once they get what they need from you. They don't think about what happens when you've been drained dry. They don't see the toll it takes. The endless cycles of giving and giving only for them to move on when they don't need you anymore. They never stick around to help you when it's your turn to collapse, when you're broken and battered, when you're left with nothing but your exhaustion and your broken heart. Where are they? They're gone, off to their next savior. And there you are, alone, with the ruins of your own kindness. So here's a thought. Stop being the go-to. Stop being the one who drops everything, every time. Stop letting everyone else decide your worth based on how much you can give them. Because let me tell you, no one else is going to stop and say, hey, maybe you need a break. Maybe you need someone to take care of you for once. No, they're too busy, too focused on what they want from you. They're too focused on getting what they need, and you're just a tool to help them get there. But you, my friend, are not a tool. You are not an endless well. You are not a servant. You are not a second-class citizen whose only purpose is to serve everyone else. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be valued for who you are, not for what you do for others. So, yeah. It's time to stop being king to everyone, because you're not some god who can wave a magic wand and solve everyone's problems. You're a human being. You have limits. You have needs. You have a breaking point. And when you finally realize that, when you finally understand that you don't have to carry the world on your shoulders, it's like waking up from a nightmare where everyone else's happiness was more important than your own. A nightmare where you thought that you had to give everything until there was nothing left. But now, you can choose. You can choose to be selfish in the best possible way. You can choose to stop giving when it's costing you everything. You can choose to be you. Not the version of yourself that everyone else needs, the version of yourself that you deserve to be. You ever notice how people are so quick to expect you to put them first? They don't even hesitate. They'll come running to you, all in a panic, with their problems, with their drama, their mess. Help me, fix this, I need you. And like the good little servant you've been trained to be, you jump in, don't you? You take on their problems, carry their baggage, and you do it all with a smile, like it's some kind of award you're winning. But what happens when it's your turn? Oh, right, nobody's around. They're too busy with their own issues, too busy expecting you to be the one to save the day. Funny, huh? They expect you to be there for them, but when the tables turn, when it's you who needs help, you find out real quick that they've moved on to the next person to drain dry. They'll be gone in a heartbeat, and you'll be left standing there with nothing but the wreckage of their demands. It's laughable, really. You've spent all this time trying to be the one who's there, the one who's present, the one who picks up the pieces when the world shatters around them, but no one tells you that eventually you'll shatter too. No one tells you that eventually you'll hit that point where you can't give anymore. You'll be drained dry, emptied out, with nothing left to offer. And that's when the real fun begins, isn't it? Because that's when you start to realize something so very important. You're not their hero. No matter how much they try to tell you that you are, no matter how many times they applaud your willingness to help, when it comes down to it, you're just a tool. You're just a means to an end. You're nothing more than a temporary fix. And the best part is how people are quick to forget that you're a human being. They'll forget that you have your own life, your own battles. They'll forget that your energy isn't endless, that your heart isn't a bottomless pit. They'll forget that at some point you need to be taken care of too, but no one will stop to check on you. No one will ask, "How are you?" Oh, no, because you're not allowed to have bad days. You're not allowed to struggle. You're not allowed to need help, because apparently the world revolves around them. So you continue to do it. You continue to give. You continue to sacrifice, hoping, praying that maybe, just maybe, someone will notice. that someone will realize how much you've given, how much you've suffered in silence. But you know what happens? Nothing. They don't notice. They don't care. They never do. They just take what you have to give and keep moving. And isn't it funny how people will applaud you when you give? When you go above and beyond, when you do things no one asked for, when you put everyone else's needs before your own, oh, they love that. They'll tell you you're doing a great job. They'll call you selfless, kind, noble. They'll heap praise on you like you've just cured the world's ills. But the second you stop, the second you start to put yourself first, that's when the masks start to slip. That's when they start to question you. Why aren't you helping me? They'll ask. What happened to you? You used to care. And that's when it hits you. They never cared about you. They only cared about what you could do for them. The moment you stop performing for them, the moment you stop giving, you become useless in their eyes. And the best part, they don't even realize it. They'll act like they're the victims in all this. They'll pretend like you're the one who's wrong for not constantly sacrificing yourself for their happiness. Isn't it a beautiful little game? But here's the truth you've been too blind to see. You're not a saint. You're not some kind of miracle worker destined to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You're a human being, and like any human being, you have limits. You have needs. You have a breaking point. And what happens when you push yourself too far? What happens when you give and give until there's nothing left? What happens is you burn out. You break. And when you break, no one is going to be there to pick up the pieces. No one is going to come to your rescue because they never needed you to rescue them. They only needed you to rescue them. And once you can't, they'll move on to someone else, just like they did before. The cruelest part, the world will make you feel guilty for wanting to take care of yourself. It will make you feel like you're somehow wrong for saying no. It will make you feel selfish for choosing yourself over others. But you know what's truly selfish? Letting yourself drown, because everyone else's problems are more important than your own. Letting yourself rot on the inside just to keep others happy. That's the real selfishness. That's the real crime. So you can keep playing the game if you want. You can keep bending over backwards for everyone else, hoping someone will notice. You can keep sacrificing your happiness and your well-being for people who won't even blink when you're no longer there. But here's the catch. You don't have to. You don't have to keep doing it. You can choose to stop. You can choose to take a step back and say, you know what? I matter too. You can choose to stop being everyone else's hero because, let's face it, you're not going to get a medal for your self-sacrifice. You're just going to get a slow, painful death of your spirit. So stop playing the martyr, stop giving until you have nothing left, and start giving to the one person who actually matters, you.